verse 22 onwards. Okay? Let's read a few verses and then we'll open with a word of prayer. Actually, that is where we left off last week in chapter 11, verse 22. Let's pick it up from where we left off. It says, "Consider therefore the kindness and sternness of God. Sternness to those who fail, but kindness to you, provided that you continue in His kindness. Otherwise you also will be cut off. And if they do not persist in unbelief, they will be grafted in. For God is able to graft them in again. After all, if you were cut out of an olive tree that is wild by nature, and contrary to nature were grafted into a cultivated olive tree, how much more readily will these, the natural branches, be grafted into their own olive tree? I do not want you to be ignorant of this mystery, brothers, so that you may not be conceited. Israel has experienced a hardening in part until the full number of the Gentiles has come in. And so all Israel will be saved, as it is written, the deliverer will come from Zion. He will turn godlessness away from Jacob. And this is my covenant with them when I take away their sins. As far as the gospel is concerned, they are enemies on your account. But as far as election is concerned, they are loved on account of the patriarchs." Oh, we'll stop here, guys. Let's all stand up. Let's open with a word of prayer. And God, we love you because you have loved us first. You were the one who chose us, Lord. We merely responded to your goodness. And we pray, Lord, that you would speak to us here today. And if there's anything contrary, Lord, that would hinder you from ministering to us, we pray, Lord, that you would remove it. We thank you, Lord, that you've heard that prayer. As always, we pray all these things in Jesus' name. You guys agree? Say amen. Okay, Paul. Romans chapter 11, beginning with verse 32 onward. But let me just give you an introduction. If you have been here for the past few chapters, what you have seen is God's faithfulness to His people Israel. Tama? Nakita natin over and over again na ang Diyos ay tapat sa Israel. Kahit na they have failed, that God would still continue to fulfill His promises to this nation. The people have asked, how do you prove that God exists? And our response is we point to Israel and we say, look at that nation. It's small, it's powerless, at wala na silang atrasan. You know, dagat na kanilang atrasan. And almost all the people in this world hate them, but they stand to this day simply because there is a God who made a promise, and His promises will be fulfilled. And that is what we will see today. God's faithfulness to this nation. And we have to ask sometimes, why, Lord? I mean, what have they done to earn your faithfulness? But we have to understand that is grace. We cannot earn it. And you have to look at yourself and you say, Lord, what have I done to earn all your goodness? We have done nothing. Jesus did it all. You see, Jesus did it all. So today, if you're a Christian, guys, listen to this. If you are a Christian, if Christ is your Lord, when I say, is Christ your Lord, I mean, He's the one that makes you tick. He's the one that motivates you. He's your Lord. Siya ang nasusunod. If that is true, then you are a Christian. And let me tell you, He has many promises given to you. Marami siyang mga pinangako sa iyo. And God is faithful and true. He will fulfill all those promises. Your part is to hold on to those promises. That when the day comes that the circumstances contradicts God's promises, your job is to say, nevertheless, Lord, I will hold on to your promises. For example, God said He will never leave you nor forsake you, and all of a sudden there is no food on the table. Your daughter, your son is sick, terribly sick. And you have all sorts of difficulties and problems. Now you have a choice. God said He will never leave me, but the circumstances says that He has left me. Your part is to say, nevertheless, Lord, I will trust your promises. The promises God gave you is for you, so that in times of difficulties, panghawakan niya. Now, God made many promises to Israel. Israel failed, terribly failed, but God will fulfill those promises because God is faithful and true, not because Israel is cute and lovable. That is the big picture. Now, let's go back to verse 22. Where we left off last week, at ito ang sabi ng Panginoon, consider therefore, now that you know God is kind, God is loving, God is faithful, He will fulfill His promises, but you need to consider this. So you don't become cocky and think, well, whatever I am, whoever I am, God is good. I'll still make it to heaven. No, you need to consider this, very important points. Consider therefore the kindness and what? Sternness of God. Sternness to those who fell, but kindness to you, provided that you will continue in His kindness. Otherwise, you also will be cut off. Paul here is calling to us Gentiles to consider two things: the sternness of God and the kindness of God. Now, I agree with this. I agree. Now, in the church, these two sides of God should be taught. It should be proclaimed in the church today. God's judgment to those who reject Christ, and God's grace to those who will trust Christ. Plain and simple, it's saying, trust Jesus today, God will erase your sins. He will be a father to you, and you will be His sons and daughters. Reject Jesus, and your sins will remain, and you will go from bad to worse. See, those 2 points should always be given. Marami ngayon sa churches, all they talk about are the good things, the good things, the good things. God will bless you. Tapos mawalit mo, magkakapera ka. God will make you well. God will blah, 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 blah. Okay, but you know what? Grace without judgment is hypocrisy. Judgment without grace is brutality. You need to examine both of those, sides of God. The sternness of God and the kindness of God. Now, with that said, notice what it says here in verse 22. Read it. But kindness to you, provided that you continue in His kindness, otherwise you also will be cut off. Now, one would say this, guys, listen up. Kuya, what does this mean? Does this mean that if you're a Christian, that there is a chance you're not going to make it? Kasi ang sabi dito, but kindness to you, provided that you continue. If you don't continue, you will be cut off. Is that what it's saying? Is that what it's saying? That you can be cut off, that you're a Christian, but you have to continue because there's a chance you're not going to continue, and if you don't, you will be cut off. That's not what it's saying here, guys. What it's simply saying here is that there are people, listen to this, that once upon a time, na-enlighten yung mind nila, na-quicken yung spirit nila, nakita nila yung mali nila, but they don't continue to a point where they repent and trust Christ. Are you listening to this? Meron mga tao, marami sila. Because they heard a message, they read a message, they were probably invited to a church, and they heard about these things. And so, to a point, their minds are enlightened, and yung spirit nila na quicken, but they never continue to a point where they really repent and put their trust in Christ. So Paul is saying, you have to continue. I know people like this, guys. One minute they talk about Jesus, the next minute they're living like a child of Satan. And you say, what happened? Did they backslide? Could be, but more likely they never really slid forward. Guys, come on, listen up to this. There are some things that you need to understand. There are some truths that you need to hold on that will not waver. Because if you do not stand for something, you will fall for everything. Did you understand what I'm saying? If you do not stand for something, you will fall for everything. If you are a person, wala kang pinaninindigan, biblical truth, based on the Bible, not based on you or the pastor. Biblical truth. Kung wala ka talaga pinaninindigan solidly, then you will be tossed to and fro. Teka muna, sinabi niyo pero ito, teka muna, ba't gano'n? You will toss to and fro every wind of doctrine. You need to believe in something. So that when something like this comes up, you know it means something else. Remember that Paul here is talking about the real branches, they were cut off, and you are not even the real branch. You are merely benefiting from the promises not given to you. They were promises given to Israel, and the only reason makikinabang ka is because of Jesus. Are you following? It's all because of Jesus, not something you did or did not do. It has nothing to do with you, everything to do with Jesus. Is this still, getting the message? Is it still clear? You read this and you say, Kuya, it says here, but kindness to you, kasi meron doon, provided you continue. Otherwise, you will be cut off. So, pwede pa lang cut off. Oh, that's not what it's saying. It's saying, my friend, that when a person is quickened in the spirit, that there is a time that this this non-believer maybe went to church, maybe read something, maybe was shared, all of a sudden, nagkaroon siya ng enlightening, na-quicken siya, at nakikita niya, may katotohanan na yun. Totoo yung kanta mo, maganda yun But they never continue, they stop. Paul here says, don't stop. Don't stop. You need to go on to a point where you really repent and put your trust in Jesus. When I became a Christian, guys, sorry to use, because when I became a Christian, for many weeks, I felt bad at what I do. Many weeks. I would take drugs and hindi na ako natutuwa. And I would still sniff cocaine and I would still take LSD. Pero hindi na siya yung ganun na maganda. And I would always sit in my room and I told this to my wife. Sabi ko, ba't ka nang pipikit ko mata ko? Kaya ako nakikita na hindi maganda. Hindi na ako natutuwa sa buhay ko. Ba't ganito ang buhay ko? And every day I would go and I would say, ayoko na itong buhay na ito. Para bagang nasa isang malaking banda, tapos pare-pareho kayong sabay-sabay kasi may tambol mayor na tumatambol, pare-pareho yung sayaw ninyo kasi isa lang naririnig yung tambol mayor. Then all of a sudden, ikaw iba na yung naririnig mo. So lahat sila sumasabay, pero biglang ikaw iba na yung galaw mo and they say, bakit? May iba na akong naririnig. May iba na akong beat na naririnig. So I was already being quickened in the spirit, I was already being enlightened. And then one day I read Romans chapter 12, and this is what it says. I beg you therefore in view of God's mercy that you present yourself a living sacrifice, holy and acceptable to God, for this is your reasonable service. And stop conforming to the present world system, but be transformed by the renewal of your mind. And that hit me like a ton of bricks. I remember that night I fell on my knees and I said, God, if there is another life other than this life, please help me. And that's been 32 years ago. But that is what Paul is saying. If ever you or somebody else or whoever that person is quickened in the spirit, enlightened in the mind, and you're starting to search, kasi hindi ba yung umpisa, you start to search. Ano ba itong meron ito? Parang ikatutapad. Paul is saying, if that is you, don't stop. Don't stop. Don't stop there. Don't stop until you reach a point where you truly repent. You truly come before God and say, Lord, I am a sinner. Forgive me, my God. I put my trust in you. That's what Paul is saying. Otherwise, he says, you're not going to make it. Do you get what's being said here? Okay. And then he goes back to the subject matter and he says this in verse 23. And if they do not persist in unbelief, he's talking to Israel. Because they started to, unbelieve God, and Paul is saying, but if they don't continue in that attitude, if they do not persist in unbelief, they will be grafted in, for God is able to graft them in again. Are you reading that? The key word here is again, the word again. God will again restore Israel. Again. The Old Testament made it very, very clear that Israel is going to turn to God again. That God will save them. that God has not given up on them. That's what it means here. Again. I love that word. Again. And it goes on in verse 24. After all, if you, read this, were cut out of an olive tree that is wild by nature and contrary to nature, were grafted into a cultivated olive tree, how much more readily will these, talking to Israel, the natural branches, be grafted into their own olive tree? I mean, you don't need a PhD to understand this. Notice it says, be grafted into whose olive tree? Their own olive tree. Now, bakit sinabi their own olive tree? Well, because the olive tree is the nation Israel. And since the olive tree is the nation Israel, then Israel is the original branches. Common sense. Originally, God's promises were given to Israel, not to Gentiles. But you know the story. They rejected God. They rejected their Messiah. So they, the original branches, were cut off. Now we, Gentile Christians, on the other hand, were grafted in. Because we did not reject Jesus, we Gentile Christians, we heard the gospel, we were quickened, and we did not stop. We continued to a point where we repented and trusted in Jesus. And so, we put our faith in Him, and we were connected to the original olive tree. Now, ito ngayon ang punto rin ni Pablo, pakinggan nyo. Ito ang punto ni Pablo. Kung tayo daw na hintil, na hindi orihinal na sanga, ikinabit nung tayo manampalataya kay Jesus, di lalo na daw ikakabit muli ng Diyos sa oras na tanggapin ng Israel ang kanilang Mesiyas na si Jesus. Bakit? Kasi sila naman talaga original na sanga. Hindi tayo. Are you following this, guys? Are you following this? This is plain common sense. Ikaw na hindi original, tiwala kay Jesus, kinabit. Hindi naman sila. Sila yung original. Now we know for a fact that that will happen. That when Jesus returns the second time, the day the nation Israel will acknowledge Jesus as their Messiah. Now, when will this happen? Okay, Kuya, I understand God has not given up on Israel. God will again turn to Israel. The next question is, Kuya, when will this happen? Verse 25 tells us when. You know, yan ang ganda ng expository Bible study. Sunod-sunod siya, sunod-sunod na intindihan mo. So, hindi tayo kailangan mag-invento. Okay? Sunod-sunod. So, alam na natin, God has not given up on Israel. God will turn again to Israel. Question is, when will it happen? Let's read verse 25. I do not want you to be ignorant of this mystery, brothers, so that you may not be conceited. Israel has experienced a hardening in part. Now, listen to this. Until the full number of the Gentiles has come in. So when will this happen? When will God turn again to Israel? The answer is in verse 25, until the full number of the Gentiles has come in. Sabi dito, the nation Israel has experienced a temporary hardening, and it will go on down until when the fullness of the Gentiles has come in. Guys, una, this indicates, my friend, that God knows how many Gentiles will be saved. Are you a Gentile? You are. You're not a Jew, you're a Gentile. Whether you're German, Japanese, nakatira sa Timbuktu, if you are not an Israelite, you are a Gentile. And it says here that God knows the number of Gentiles that will be saved. Me, I don't know. How many Gentiles will be saved? Maybe a million, maybe a billion, maybe, I don't know. But ever since God started touching the Gentiles, until the day that the full number of the Gentiles have come in, there is no a certain number of Gentiles that will be saved. And then after that full number will be saved, boom, we will be raptured. So, siyempre lang ako ano malay mo? Isa na lang pala, full number na. Come on! I'm not teaching something heretic. Don't throw a stone at me. Because we don't know how many Gentiles will be saved. But this we know, that there is a number, exact number of Gentiles that will be saved. And when they have come in, we will be raptured, and Jesus will again turn to Israel. That we know. And since we know that, ano malay mo? Right now, yung huling numero ng hentil, ayun na, nananalangin na. Humihingi na ng tawad sa Diyos. And the any minute now, we will be raptured and guys, you know. Jesus said, wake up from your slumber. The night is almost over. The day is almost here. Sabi ni Jesus, sige na, bangon na, tama na, tatamad-tamad ka. Malapit na matapos ang gabi. Malapit na dumating ang umaga. That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. So, going back here, it says that when the full number of Gentiles have come in, and we don't know how many that is, but we know that there is a number exact that God knows. And when that happens, God will enter to the nation Israel. In verse 25, yung sinabing has come in. Are you there? Verse 25, look at it. Yung phrase na sinabing has come in, what that means is God gathering the Christians to Himself. They have come in. In 1 Thessalonians chapter 4, that act of getting the Gentile Christians and gathering them in 1 Thessalonians chapter 4, it is called, do you know what it is called? Rapture. That's what it's called. It's called rapture. Now, we will not turn there, but remember 1 Thessalonians chapter 4. Ang sabi ron, my friend, in a twinkling of an eye. Okay. I see faces smiling. So you know what I'm saying? In a twinkling of an eye. In the trumpet call of an angel. Anong sabi? The dead in Christ shall rise first, and those that are still alive will be caught up with Jesus in the clouds, and thereby forever be with God. That's called rapture. That's what rapture is all about. It says, in a twinkling of an eye. I told my daughter na kung depende natin mahanap yung ano yung rapture, Habi? Meron tayo dito. Is there a way to find it now? No, wala na. Masyadong matagal, ano? No, we can't do it. Okay. Meron kasi sa Amerika, what they did is, if you can do it, Bianca, while I'm telling this story, meron nangyari sa Amerika, meron isang church. This is fun. Okay. Tumawa si Anna, she knows the story. What they did is they all went, tapos nag-outing sila sa aming pastor, kasama lahat ng elders, kasama members, and they went to this place that is a very beautiful resort in the States. Tapos may dagat sa tabi nila. And, you know, the kids were there playing ball, and the parents were swimming. There were those na nag-water skiing, ikot-ikot. Okay, and there was a phone call, and just as the pastor was leaving his room, the phone rang, and so he turns to the phone, and he takes the phone, and all of a sudden, there's dial tone. And so he says, hello? And so he puts it down, and he turns to the next room, to his secretary, and the secretary was not there. The bag was there, the shoes were there, but the secretary was not there. So he said, this is funny. Siya, tumawag na yun. And then he looks outside his window, nakita niya, nandun pa rin yung mga beach ball ng mga bata. Wala ng mga bata. Nandun pa rin yung mga pagkain, nandun yung lamesa. Nakita niya yung water ski, ikot na lang, ikot yung mga water ski, para wala nakasakay. Kinabahan siya, sabi niya, could this be? And so he starts to call his friends. He starts to call, and nobody's answering, and he knew. Rapture, what happened was he fell on his knees and he started to cry. And everybody came out, Pastor, biro lang po. But that really shook him. He said, it really shook me. You know why? Because you are here today. And when the rapture takes place, the people will say, well, millions of Christians are gone. They just disappeared. And they will say, kinuha sila ng UFO. Kasi marami na UFO eh. O UFC. Parang na. But we Christians, we know what took place. So really, yung talagang masasaktan are the Christians because you know what took place. You know what happened. You understand? There's no way. Oh, yeah, sige. Oh, sige, order. Ang bilis pala ha. Ang bilis mo. Very technical ka. Okay. Ako teka lang, hindi ako teki. Okay. Let's take this. the sake of the other people. Come on, guys. So that's what rapture is all about. And it says, in a twinkling of an eye. See that? So, in a twinkling of an eye, it's gonna take place. In a twinkling of an eye, it's gonna take place. And in the gospel, it says, two will be in the field, one taken, one left. Two will be in the bed, one taken, one left. Two will be in the mill, one taken, one left. Now, you probably read that and said, wow, you have to eat. Pansinin mo, iba yung oras nung nasa bed. Iba yung oras nang nasa field. Iba yung oras nang nasa mill. Are you following? Iba yung oras na pupunta ka sa field, aanihin mo, pag naanin mo, dadalhin mo sa mill. Pansinin mo, nangyari ito simultaneous pero iba-ibang oras. Meron two in the bed, one taken, one left. Meron two in the field, one taken, one left. Two in the mill, one taken, one left. Different time zones. What does this mean? This will be simultaneous all over the world. In other places, it will be morning. Because in America, if it's morning, it's night here, tama? But it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. And notice it says, in a twinkling of an eye. You know what a twinkling of an eye is? You twinkle your eye and you did not even know. You twinkle your eye, you did not even know. Twinkling of an eye is, pumikit yung mata mo. Pumikit na naman ang mata mo, hindi mo alam. And that's how fast it will be. Boom! And everything is done. Everything is over. Everything is over. Guys, don't be left. Do not be left. If you know you're going, make sure your children go with you. And guys, listen to this. Is it there, Ari? I have to say this. Yung mga may iwan, listen to this. Nobody's gonna miss you. Nobody's gonna miss you. And that really shakes me. You mean to say, if I have a very, very loved person, I go to heaven, I'm not gonna miss him? Yes. Because in heaven, everything God does is praise and worship. Nothing will be questioned. Lord, hindi mo sila ito. No one is going to miss you. Sing it, bro. Let's go.
Sa gitara, bro. Sa gitara.
And boy, and darkness was upon the face of the deep. And God said, let there be light. And there was light. And God saw the light, and it was good.
We watch that and it sounds like science fiction. It's not science fiction. It's Bible prophecy. Okay? It is Bible prophecy. It will take place. Jesus said, John chapter 14, when his disciples were crying, and Jesus said, I am going, you cannot come with me, where I'm going, you cannot come, so on and so forth. And Peter said, oh, far forbid, Lord, that you should leave, and this and that. And Jesus said, Do not let your hearts be troubled. Trust in God, trust also in me. In my Father's house are many mansions. I am going there to prepare a place for you. And if I go, I am coming back so that where I am, there you will be also. Jesus said that. It's all over the Bible. It's all over the Bible. Okay? The rapture is true. It's going to take place. One of these days it's going to take place. Your loved ones, make sure that they are Christians. And you loved ones, don't think that because your parents are Christians that you are also a Christian. This is not religion. This is not Catholicism. Not Catholicism. Pag ang tatay mo Katoliko, di ikaw Katoliko na rin. Pag Islam, you're a Catholic, but not Christianity. And you can know if you're a Christian, do you love the Lord? Do you love the Lord? Okay? So that will take place. When will Jesus turn to the Israelites again? It says here, when he has gathered to himself the full number of Gentiles. When it says, has come in, when the full numbers of the Gentiles has come in 1 Thessalonians chapter 4, that is called the rapture. That is called the rapture. And then after the church has gone to heaven, and we're going to take this up in Revelation, there will be a 7-year tribulation period. Alisin mo na ng Diyos sa mga Kristyano. Then there will be a 7-year tribulation period where the beast, the man of perdition, will be revealed. The man that is, it says 666. So don't be left, my friend. Do not be left. Don't be left. Make sure today. Make sure. Because if you're left here, you can still be a Christian, but you're going to go through the tribulation period. It's not going to be good. Sige, let's continue with verse 26. Notice what it says in verse 26. And so all Israel will be saved. Does that mean buong Israel? No. All Israel, you remember the story with Jacob, when Jacob wrestled with God. You remember? Jacob wrestled with God. And because Jacob was a strong man and he was very intelligent, the Lord could not subdue him and make him surrender. So what did the Lord do? Dislocated his hip. You know the story? Yeah. Old Testament. And in that crippled state, in that powerless state, Jacob cried out and said, Lord, I will not let you go unless you bless me. And you probably say, oh, don't let me go. No. Hey, that is not Jacob. Jacob never needed anyone. So to actually say, Lord, I need you. I will not let you go unless you bless me. You know that this man is now humble. And right then and there, God said, no longer will you be called Jacob, you will be called Israel. You see, Jacob means supplanter. Okay? Sa Tagalog, mandarambog. Israel means God governed. So it says here, and so all God governed will be saved. That's what it's saying in verse 26. It doesn't mean that the whole nation of Israel, regardless of who you are, you will be saved because you are in Israel. And all Israel, meaning everyone that is in Israel, that is God governed. And many they will be, because they will turn to Jesus and acknowledge Him as their Messiah, will be saved. As it is written, we hear the prophecy, the deliverer will come from Zion and he will turn godlessness away from Jacob. Jacob the supplanter, the mandarambog. And this is my covenant with them when I take away their sins. Beautiful covenant, beautiful. In other words, God will deal with Israel again. God will turn their godlessness away and will take away their sins. When will this happen? That's again the big question. When will it happen? After we are gathered in heaven. After we are raptured. God will again turn to Israel and fulfill His promises. But we will be raptured first. Verse 28, as far as the gospel is concerned, they are enemies on your account. But as far as election is concerned, they are loved on account of the patriarchs. And sinasabi dito, because of their hostile reaction towards the gospel, they have become enemies of Christians. But as far as God is concerned, they are not enemies, they are loved. They are very much loved by God because of God's promises to Abraham, to Isaac, and to Jacob. Meaning, in spite of their hostility, God will still not break His promises because God does not change. Did you hear what I said? God does not change. God doesn't change. Whatever it is about God, He doesn't change. For lack of better example, prayers. actually, if you thought that prayer will change the heart of God. Sige lang, pray ka lang, para mabago ang puso ng Diyos. Sige lang, brad, storm the gates of heaven. Have you heard that? That is very stupid. That is very stupid. My friend, you cannot change the heart of God. Prayer, listen to this, prayer is not to overcome God's reluctance. Prayer is to take hold of God's willingness. Did you hear that? Prayer is not to overcome His reluctance. Prayer is to take hold of God's willingness. God is not a distant stranger. He's a willing Father. There's nothing about God you can change. God is perfect. You do not change perfect. The only things that change are the imperfect. But, perfect, you cannot improve on perfect. God doesn't change. And eto, for purpose of argument, if you could change God, see, if it is true that prayer can change God, question, which part of God do you want to change? He loves you. You want to change that? He wants to be a father to you. You want to change that? He says He has plans for you, to prosper you and not to harm you. Plans to give you a good life, and then you will call upon Him and He will answer. You want to change that? He wants to protect you. He wants to provide for you. He wants to sustain you. He wants to bring you to heaven. Which of that do you want to change? Which of that do you want to change? Merong kwento sa Biblia na natutulog na yung salbahing walang utang na loob na tao, kinatok daw niya na kinatok, huwag mo akong gambalain, natutulog ako, kinatok na kinatok. Finally, sabi, sige, para tumigil ako, ito na yung tinapin na hinihingi mo. At sabi nila, ganun ng Diyos, katukin mo na katukin. Guys, you need to, that's a hyperbole. Ang sinasabi, could you tap, kung ito nagago, nag-give tatay mo ba kaya, tatay mo yan eh. God is not being compared to a stupid man. You never compare God to a stupid man. It's a hyperbole, my friend. Ang sabi ko na ito, walang kwenta, dahil kinatok ng kinatok, bumigay. Ang tatay mo pa kaya? Ang tatay mo pa kaya? Tapos sabi ng Panginoon, kung ikaw na makasalanan, kung humingi siya ako ng tinapay, bibigyan mo ba ito? Sino sa inyong tao rito, humingi sa inyong anak nyo ng tinapay, at sinagot niya, sige, punta ka sa ito, maraming bago ito, kumulong ka lang. Ano ba sa tatay? O humingi ng isda, binigyan mo ng ahas. Sabi ng anak mo, tayo gusto ko isda, teka mag-alam ako ahas. Sino tatay gagawa niya? Ano sabi ng Jesus? Ikaw na makasalanan, alam mo mabuti para sa anak mo. Tatay mo pa kaya kasalanan. Okay? There's nothing about God that you can change. Nothing about God that you can change. God made a promise to Abraham, to Isaac, and to Jacob. Those promises will be fulfilled. Not because Israel is lovable, but because God is faithful and true. In the Bible it says, even when you are faithless, God is faithful. You understand that? You understand that? Let's continue with verse 29. For God's gifts and His call are irrevocable. Even His call and His gifts do not change. His calling, irrevocable, guys. It's irrevocable. God's grace, God's calling, God's promises is irrevocable. Malachi chapter 3 verse 6, it says, I am the Lord, I will not change. Will not change. He's the same yesterday. Come on. Today and tomorrow, He will not change. He will not change. It doesn't change. It doesn't improve because He's perfect. You see. Numbers chapter 23 verse 19. It says, God is not man that He should lie, neither the Son of Man that He should change His mind. God does not change His mind. He does not change His mind. So, question, has God called you? Have you heard His voice? Because in John chapter 10, it says, I call my sheep by name, they hear and they respond. He doesn't call you, hoy. Sabi nga nila, punta ka ng Amerika, sumutsut ka, yung walang siya, binibigay ka. God doesn't say, no, He calls you by name. John chapter 10, it says, I know my sheep, I call them by name. They hear me and they respond, and I go ahead of them and I lead them. So, question, has God called you? Have you responded? Has news for you. That will not change. He will not change. His calling, His promises, they do not change, my friend. They do not change. Verse 13. This is what it says. Just as you who were at one time disobedient to God have now received mercy as a result of their disobedience. Verse 31. So they too have now become disobedient in order that they too may now receive mercy as a result of God's mercy to you. In other words, we benefited from them, may they benefit from us. Verse 32. For God does not bound all men over to disobedience, so that He may have mercy on them all. Amen. All men are disobedient. That is the verdict. All have sinned. No one righteous. No one is righteous, my friend. There is no one that is righteous. That is the verdict. So, question: if that is the verdict, that all men have gone their way, that nobody has done anything to receive something. My question is there a way? I mean, you just said that is the verdict. Is there a way? Is there hope? Yes, there is. Jesus is the only way. He is the only hope. There's only one way. And that's the only way. That's the only way. Wala nang ibang way. Jesus said, I am the way, the truth, and the life. I am the way, the truth, and the life. He's the only way. It's not Jesus and Mary. It's Jesus, period. It's not Jesus and the sacraments. It's Jesus, period. It's not Jesus and the Pope, Jesus and the Father. No, it's Jesus and Jesus alone. You remember this example? I had a friend who was a Mormon. He looks more like a Christian than me. Napakahap. Di ba, pagdating mo, magkano presyo? Malaman, kung baba mo yung kotse, kasi may beta pa, kikita pa ako eh. Siya hindi. Okay. Napakahap. Sabi ko, kulupin mo. He's making me move on. But anyway, we had the chance to sit down and he said, kayo mga Kristyano. Sabi niya, makikita ang utak ninyo. You say that Jesus is the only way to God. Sabi niya kami. We did not use Jesus, but we reached God. And that perplexed me. And I said, oh man, how am I going to answer this guy? Sabi niya, kayo, sinasabi na Jesus is the only way to God. He is not the only way to God. Maraming way. Tino kami, sabi niya. Ibang way yung ginamit namin, pero nakarating kami sa Diyos. And I told him, well, I believe you na narating mo ang Diyos. Pero yung narating mo ang Diyos, hindi Diyos ng Biblia. Kasi yung Diyos ng Biblia ay isa lang paraan para marating sa pamamagitan ng Jesus. So sabi ko yung narating mo, kakatakot. Ano na sa Diyos yun? Because Jesus is the only way, my friend. There is no other way. There is no other way. In fact, I told him that the only way to get to God is through Jesus, and the only way to get to Jesus is if the Father draws you to Jesus. You see? So part and parcel talaga. Salvation was created by God. You see? And notice it says here in verse 33. Verse 33, oh, the depth of the riches of the wisdom and knowledge of God, how unsearchable His judgments and His paths beyond tracing out. Ooh, man, the mind, the knowledge, the wisdom of God is unsearchable, beyond our understanding. It's beyond our understanding. And I've heard people say, alam mo, bakit hindi ng Biblia? Hindi naman lahat sinabi sa Biblia. Narinig na yun ba? Ayun, sabi nila, alam mo, putro Biblia. Kasi sarami yung gusto sabihin ng Bible, hindi mo magkakasya sa 66 books of the Bible. Marami din siyang hindi sinabi sa iyo. Ang sagot natin ay, marami hindi. Pero kung ano man yung hindi niya sinabi, hindi ko kontra sa mga sinabi. Common sense. Even if God would tear the clouds today and speak to you, it still will not contradict what He already said. You say. So yes, I believe there are many things He did not say. But He will never contradict what He has already said. It will still be the same. You see. So what He has not said, it's not for us to know. Problema yun. Huwag kang mag-alala. Kasi sabi, today you know in part, it says in Peter, but later you will know in fullness, for you shall see him as he is. And the Bible says, for you shall know all things just as you are fully known. Now, I know it's quite difficult. Ako inintindi ko na lang yung huli, I will know all things just as I am fully known by God. I like that now. Okay na sa akin yun. Yung part niya, I'm gonna know all things. You see. But the things when I get to heaven, I'm not gonna ask. Pero mga tao nagsabi, no, when I get to heaven, I will ask God this. When I get to heaven, I will ask God that. No. The Bible says when you get to heaven, you're going to run. When you reach Jesus, you will fall at His feet and you will say, mighty are you, Lord. Awesome and power. Glorious are you, my God. Yes, sir. That's all you're going to do. You're going to run to Jesus. You reach Jesus. You're going to fall at His feet and you're going to worship Him. How long are you going to worship God? For all eternity. For all eternity. So I expect you guys to like to worship, huh? If you guys don't like to worship, heaven is not going to be a good place for you. Oh yes. So I hope that you guys, during Sunday, you want to come, just come early because it's worship. Because if you don't like to worship, heaven will be a bad place for you. Imagine. So langit ka, pare. Ano to? 1 trillion years na tayo dito, worship kami. Ano ba tayo gagawin dito? Mahilig ka sa langit. But if that's what you want to do, then you say, come on, get it on. Because in heaven, that's all you're going to do. You're going to proclaim Jesus as He is. You're going to worship Him as He is. You're going to worship Him for all eternity. For all eternity, my friend. Beautiful. 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 Verse 34. Oh, this is what it says. Who has known the mind of the Lord? Or who has been His counselor? This is a question that deserves a no answer. Common sense naman yun. Okay? Sabi niya sa verse 33, the depth of the riches of the wisdom and knowledge of God, how unsearchable. So unsearchable ito. So pag sinabi, so sino pwede magpayo sa kanila? Sa kanila wala. Okay? I never run to Mary and ask Mary to talk to Jesus. Okay? Don't do that. No, Mary, pag siya humingi kay Jesus, hindi makakaindi si Jesus. Really? Oh, okay. And they say, we don't worship Mary. We just venerate her. Ilan sa tingin mo milyon ang Katoliko sa Pilipinas? Ilan sa tingin mo milyon ang Katoliko sa Rome? Lahat ng Katoliko. Ilang milyon sa tingin mo ang Katoliko sa Espanya? Ilang milyon sa tingin mo ang Katoliko sa buong mundo? There's about 10 billion people on earth. Would it be safe there are 1 billion Catholics? I would say that's a very, very small 1 billion, 2 billion, 3 billion. Paano ko sa'yo? Sabay-sabay nagsasalita kay Mary. Paano mo naintindihan yun? And you say that praying to Mary is not giving to her, deity. Is not worshiping her. When you pray, that is the highest act of worship, my friend. You pray to Mary, you are attributing deity to her. The fact that you think ganun karami kayo naririnig kanya, ikaw tatlo kami magsasalita sa maintindihan mo kami. Paano kung tatlo po kami? Paano kung 300 kami? Sabay-sabay. Ang galing mo, sasagot mo lang. Nakakatakot ka nun. Pag nasagot mo lahat yun. Guys, it's common sense. It's common sense. Tayo kasi many churches today, when you come, they will tell you, even may utak mo doon. Pagdating mo rito, kaya mag-isip, basta ako magsasalita lang ako magsasalita. Hindi na, pinatong ng Diyos yung ulo mo sa debo, may dahilan. Gamitin mo yan. The Bible says, gird the loins of your mind. What does that mean? Gird the loins. In the early days, mahaba ang damit nila. Before they work, they will take it and gird it, and then tie it. They will take it, they will gird it, they will tie it. Pag nakatype niyan, action na. So when the Bible says, gird the loins of your mind, it means put them to action. So ano mo yung kakalawangin yan? Sige ka, tanda ka na, radyo pa rin yan. Gamitin mo utak mo. Imagine mo na lang, you cannot say you are not worshiping Mary. You're talking to her, you expect her to hear. Ito pa, yung na lang ang expect her to hear, pare, nakakatakot na. And you expect her to answer. No, my friend. Prayer is only to God. It's only to God. The Bible says, when you pray, okay, pray like this. Our Father, hindi mo tatay, huwag ka mananalangin kasi hindi mo tatay, mga tatay lang pwede mo. Hindi mo pwede tabintay, di anak. Our Father who art in heaven, but Lord, He's in heaven. Holy be your name. Holy mo muna, huwag kang hihingi ka agad. The kingdom come, they will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us, at saka kainin. Nag-aaral pa sa atin na iwan niya, sinipa ako ng lasal eh. Ang ginagawa ko, tatago ko pa eh. Kukulihin mo, ang ganda-ganda mo ma. Oh, yun, gusto-gusto ko nga yung pinadala mo eh. Ang totoo, mga kaibigan ko, tuwag-tuwag, tinanong ako, sino ibigay na sa'yo? Pero ma, wala akong pera. Wala akong pera. You know, you laugh at it, but hey guys, you know, before you ask anything, acknowledge first what He has given you. And that prayer has been given to us, but hey, again, okay, you know, the mind of God is unsearchable, the thoughts of God are unsearchable. So when it says here, who has known the mind of the Lord, or who has been His counselor, the answer is no, none, nada. Verse 35, who has ever given God that God should repay him? The answer is again, nada. Zilch, none. Okay? So you never go to Peter to talk to Jesus. Okay? You never go to Mary to talk to Jesus. You go to Jesus directly, my friend. Guess what? Direct to Jesus, my friend. At saka di mo kayo magkaaway. Bakit ka dadaan? Kaya kung may gusto ko sabihin kayo onyo, lalakita ko si onyo. Pare, nga pala. Lalo tayo, hindi ko sabihin dyan. Sabihin mo dyan kayo onyo. Hindi ko sabihin onyo eh. Mga pinatay, lalo tayo. Ikaw na magsabi pare. Eh, sabihin onyo, magkawin na tayo. Ako sabihin ko kanya, Ray, sabihin mo dyan kay Ana. Luto siya ng burritos. Magkaibigan tayo eh. Diretso kita na. So you need something from God. You go directly to God, my friend. The last verse, verse 36, for from Him, and through Him, and to Him are all things. To Him be glory forever. Amen. And we say that also. We say, Amen, Lord. So be it. So be it, my God. Let's pray. Lord, we thank you so much that you love us, Lord. We have loved you all because you loved us first. God, I pray that in this place, Lord, ikaw na po ang pagpuli ng mga tao, Lord. That if we stay here another year, another 2 years, and I don't know, Lord, that every time we gather, Lord, that we will glorify you and you alone. May we do that, Lord, by your strength. Thank you, Lord, for this day. In Jesus' name we pray. If you agree, say amen. God bless you guys.